So let's look at some of the elements of addiction. Addiction is a craving due to an unsatisfied, legitimate need. The need is legitimate. We actually have a need for something that we're trying to meet in an ungodly way. We're trying to fill up an empty place that is inside of all of us. Some of the other elements of addiction are that people with addictions tend to ignore their own discernment and take a risk anyway. And after a while, they live so long taking risks that they can no longer discern what is safe and what is not. They will repeat risky behavior, and what they're always looking for is that first high. The first time they drank too much, the first time they took a drug, the first time they tried that risky behavior, there is a release of chemicals in the body that can give a big high feeling. But the way the body works is that no matter how they try to repeat that same experience, it's never as good. But they will continually crave that thing and try to bring back that original very high free feeling. So another element of addiction is that when people use the drug or the behavior for a short while, they feel a release. They're out of touch with the pain or the discomfort that was driving the behavior. But actually then, once they have that little taste of freedom, their life just continues to spiral downward and become worse than before. It's always progressive. Addictions are progressive. Addictions require more and more of that behavior or that substance in order to get the similar but decreasing effect. Also, with addictions, people tend to lose control of their life, but they don't realize it. It just often happens so gradually, they have no idea what they've lost. So the emptiness continues and it progresses. It becomes worse. And there is no other way to fill this void with a substance or a behavior. And is Isaac here? Oh, thank you. Thank you for helping. The truth is, and this is, if you remember nothing else, I want you to remember this. The truth is that God created us with a void inside that can only be filled by God. And that is what this is all about. We all have cravings, we all have longings, and we may not recognize that it's really God that we desire. How does God fill this void that He placed inside of us? So we're going to look at some scriptures, and I'm just going to read to you, and I want you to just let these words settle into your heart. From Genesis 2:7, and the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living being through the breath of God. When God created Adam, he was perfectly formed. He looked perfectly normal, but he was lying perfectly still until God breathed life into him. And he received the ability to love and to live and to choose, to communicate and to relate. Adam was not alive until God came close and filled the void by breathing into him. And then Adam's life was sustained as he walked with God and continually breathed in the strength and the freshness of the breath of God. He walked with God, and God listened to him, and he listened to God in the garden. And day by day, he was filled afresh again and again and again. And you all probably know the theory of first mention. You know, in Genesis, whenever a principle is mentioned, it's extremely important. And 5 times in Genesis, God talked about people who walked with him. And to walk with someone is to share life with them. It's to receive and it's to give. Adam and Eve walked with God in Genesis 3:8. Enoch walked with God in Genesis 5:24. Noah walked with God in Genesis 6:9. And God purposes us to walk with him too.